Hello and welcome to our review of Veronica Mars. I'm Paul,
And I'm Dave.
and this week we're discussing the episode Ain't No Magic Mountain High Enough. Alrighty. So this episode originally aired February 8th, 2006. Let us start off with the number one song in America this week, Dave. Any guesses?
And music-wise, at the start of the year, for that sort of stuff.
Oh, I didn't know it was that. Okay, that's interesting. It's an artist you've definitely heard of, but I don't know if you're familiar with this particular song.
Uh, mm,
Also, an artist that I would
yeah,
argue is
nothing.
still, culturally relevant.
Okay. Yeah, nothing's immediately coming to mind.
It is Check on It by Beyonce.
Yeah, but again, as I think I mentioned, with most of Beyonce's music, it kind of all conglomerates into one giant ball. It's like, yep, that's Beyonce music. I don't know what song it is, but it's Beyonce music.
Yeah, fair. Okay. So, number one film at the box office the weekend after this episode aired. Any ideas, Mr. David? I'll give you a couple of hints. It's a comedy and it's a remake.
Interesting. Huh. Thinking back around that time, what was something?
Oh, and it has probably. Okay. I'm going to go out on a leap here, take a bit of a leap here, and say it has probably one of our favorite comedic actors in it.
Okay. Oh, the face just popped into my mind, but the name escapes me. Darn it. Something vaguely related. Steve Martin. Movie-wise though.
It's
Uh,
the remake of the Pink Panther.
oh God, that series. Like I vaguely remember watching one of them, and it's like I somewhat understand it and somewhat felt bad about the entire movie series being made, but at certain points it was like somewhat good to my mind at the time, and possibly going back to them might be like I'm open to watching them, but most likely ready for the cringe.
Okay, so from memory, now I haven't watched the 2006 Pink Panther since 2007.
So like round the time.
Yeah, well, because okay, you remember in high school we did a particular play for theater.
Yes, though I specifically can't remember if it was the one or the other one.
When we were in grade 12. I used this
Probably
movie to
no,
get
that
the
one.
accent.
Yeah.
This is the movie that I pulled the accent from. Because it was funny and dumb and it worked.
That does not surprise me. And it's probably the best option you could have picked out of the multitude of things you could have looked up.
Yes, I will also say, from memory, if you go back and watch the original Pink Panther movies, uh, skip the first one.
Duly noted.
I remember. Okay, now again, this might have been because I was 17 at the time. I found the first one at least painfully boring.
Oh. Hmm.
Anyway, moving along here to video games. We have a couple of big releases here. Nothing crazy, but some interesting stuff. So, February 6th, if you had a Game Boy Advance, you could pick up Drill Dozer.
Ah, yes. The supposed king that could, but then kind of faded into its obscurity after getting out and about.
I feel like I saw this game, the box for it, everywhere, but don't think I know anybody who ever played it.
Yeah. And weirdly enough, it was one made by Game Freak.
Huh, interesting. I feel like didn't this get a couple of games? Or did it just get re released a few times?
In a couple of cases later on, as the particular digital markets opened up for Nintendo, it's also kind of a case of it's one of the ones where its idea concept has jumped to a whole lot of different games. Since there's a supposed indie game nowadays that's using the idea, one that was announced in the Game Awards that's supposedly coming out, and it's even a case that Sonic used the idea in some of his gameplay.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to some other games. February 7th, if you had a Nintendo DS, you could pick up Resident Evil Deadly Silence.
Because Resident Evil on a handheld, if the cheesy horror doesn't get you, the gameplay will supposedly.
If I remember correctly, this was basically just a port of the PS1 original onto the DS, and they slapped some touch controls on it and said, hey, look, pay us full price.
Yeah, but sadly they never bothered to transfer in the important things, like the basement level music.
Moving on, still on February 7th, if you had a PSP, you could pick up Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max.
Yes. Though I'm not specifically sure, since I'm not that much of a fighting game expert, if this one was super important.
I do not know because I've never been really much of a Street Fighter fan either. Also on February 7th, if you had a PS2, you could pick up Tales of Legendia?
Yeah, Legendia. The Tails game that probably shouldn't be a Tails game, but it's a Tails game, but we just going to have to live with it.
Okay. And finally, on February 7th, if you had a Nintendo DS, you could pick up the Rub Rabbits. What the fuck? Oh, it's a minigame
Yeah.
compilation made by Sonic Team? What?
Oh dear, it's one of those guys.
What the? Oh, it's a prequel to Feel the Magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Because wasn't Feel the Magic meant to be pretty good?
Eh. It was kind of one of the ones that I was starting to develop the mind of, all the particular things that this company is using to advertise the specific stuff isn't exactly very good for mindings and whatnot. Or I could just tell at a glance that some particular games are just like, you're trying too hard. Please stop.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on to the episode.
Yes, please. Let's go to that magic mountain. Get this out of my brain.
This episode makes me happy. Okay. So it's the Winter Carnival, and Veronica helps out to raise money for the senior trip. She is sarcastically confronted by JD, the runner-up for the Kane Scholarship, and Madison Sinclair. Jackie is harassed by Neptune High students in the aftermath of her father being taken in for questioning regarding the bus crash. Keith is approached by Terrence, who asks him for help. At the Winter Carnival, Logan talks to Veronica sarcastically. Dick and Logan spot Mac and Beaver holding hands, and they are the cutest couple ever, and if anybody says anything mean, I will kill you.
Duly noted. I will not say words.
They are so adorable. Okay. A group of streakers cause a ruckus, causing Mrs. Hauser to leave the cash box with Veronica. When Mrs. Hauser returns to gather the box, it has been stolen from the cabinet where Veronica left it. Mrs. Hauser states that there was $12,000 in the cash box, and without the money, there will be no senior trip. Veronica and the faculty start looking for the box, and Madison blames Jackie without any evidence. Logan flirts with the girl Hannah at the carnival. Veronica angers Weevil by searching his 6-year-old niece's backpack. Keith continues his talk with Terrence, who asks Keith to prove his innocence. Jackie borrows a screwdriver from Beaver, but Veronica finds it was to scrape off some incendiary graffiti about her.
Yeah.
Jackie willingly enters the dunk tank at the carnival so that the others can express their anger at her. Also, in this scene, Wallace is the best dude ever.
Yeah, he is.
So it's like a typical dunk tank thing. You pay a couple of bucks, you get to throw the balls and dunk the person. Wallace pays his money and then just chucks them over the fence. And I'm like, yeah.
And man, he doesn't even get the chance with his last ball.
That's true. The teacher's like, I know what you're doing. You can't fucking do that. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like he should be able to. Keith tells Terrence that he was a major fan of his before questioning Terrence about his relationship with Miss Dumas, the journalism teacher. At the Winter Carnival, Wallace intentionally misses during his turn at the dunk tank. Dick makes fun of Beaver and Mac. How dare he must die. Logan continues to flirt with Hannah. Veronica asks for the ball pit to be dumped, or to be emptied as part of her investigation, but nothing is found. Incomplete footage of the time the box is stolen is found, leading to several suspects being rounded up, including Dick, JD, Weevil, Madison, and Jackie. Beaver and Mac plan revenge on Dick. Terrence elaborates on his relationship with Miss Dumas during which he told Terrence's fiancée about their affair. Weevil tells Veronica that everyone who takes shop has a copy of the key to unlock the shop. Principal Clemens and Veronica search the lockers and find $3,000 and a bag of pills in one locker. The owner of that locker is revealed to be Thumper. One of the items in Thumper's locker has a series of numbers on it, which Veronica recognizes to be license plates because she isn't fucking blind. While photocopying the item, she discovers a page from Mrs. Hauser's test still on the copier. Back in Principal Clemens' office, Mrs. Hauser and Principal Clemens apologize to Jackie. Veronica takes JB aside and threatens to reveal he is a member of the Tritons unless he confesses to stealing the test, which he agrees to. Veronica then proves that Mrs. Hauser was skimming from the cash box before it was stolen, recovering $6,000. Dick unsuccessfully hits on Madison before approaching an attractive woman claiming to be a student's stepmom and getting in her car. Logan kisses Hannah as her ride pulls up. It is shown that Hannah's father is Dr. Griffin. It's revealed that the woman Dick got in the car with is a transgender sex worker hired by Beaver and Mac as a prank, which is kind of shitty, but this is 2006, so, you know.
Yeah.
He almost punches Beaver, but eventually backs off. Keith tells Terrence that he can't take the case, as Terrence isn't being honest with him. Terrence confesses the extent of his gambling problem, admitting that he rigged a game to get out of debt. Keith is angry at him, but now agrees to take his case, believing that he didn't kill anyone. Veronica observes Weevil arrive at school in a car and tells him that she knows he stole the cash box, keeping $3,000 and using the other $3,000 to frame Thumper. Alrighty. What did you think of this episode, Dave?
On whole, it turned out to be fairly interesting with the design of everything within the carnival, the multitude of ideas that were going on. It was interesting to see, and additionally, out of all the particular stuff, why did you have to get one of the cabinets that had doors on both sides for particular things? That's just asking to be stolen from.
Yes. So, there's one reference in this that I called bullshit on.
Adios.
So, Dick refers to Mac as that chick from Ghost World. Okay? Ain't no fucking way Dick Casablancas has A, read or seen the movie for Ghost World. Ain't no fucking way.
With the character and whatnot from there, like, maybe heard of the title, supposedly might have watched the movie, possibly fell asleep when they got it started, though, or did his typical antics. So, yeah.
But, like, that movie didn't make money. Like, it cost $7 million to make, and it made $8 million at the box office. Like, nobody saw it. Which is sad, because it's really good, but ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way Dick Casablancas read a fucking indie comic from the 90s. Okay? Didn't happen. Anyway. There's a bunch of other references that we won't go into, except Veronica mentions the Thomas Crown Affair, which made me very happy because, again, very good movie. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it.
Yes, my list just keeps growing with all the particular things I need to educate myself with.
It's such a good heist movie. I love heist movies, in case people didn't know that. Anyway, some
I
important
think the
things.
only one other thing just with this episode to mention was either just the basis of one particular scene that they had with Veronica around with uh, showing the money that was hidden up in the ceiling in the classroom. Just the case of her first confronting them with Veronica, I believe it was, to find all the information and just the show that she made of it. I was very content, but also kind of the case of, I question if this was kind of a case of them putting this within the episode, or there was just someone that just randomly threw the idea out of them. But nevertheless, it was very fun to see.
Yes. Some important things happen in this episode. So, we find out that Sheriff Lamb thinks Terrence planted the explosive device on the bus and detonated it with a cell phone.
Mm.
Keith agrees to take Terrence's case. Terrence admits that he was in a relationship with Miss Dumas, but she turned into a stalker and caused his engagement to be broken off. Keith gets Terrence to admit that he has a gambling problem and threw a very important baseball game to get out of debt. And two of the Fitzpatricks came to his house to have a chat about his debt with him. Logan meets and begins dating Hannah Griffith.
Yeah.
And Veronica finds a wooden paddle in Thumper's locker with what appears to be license plate numbers carved into it, and she makes a copy of it. Yes, this was quite a good episode. A bunch of stuff happened, and there was great Mac and Beaver stuff in it, so I was very happy.
And again, it's always interesting with the design of particular things, of where they put some of the settings or particular ideas that they use with it. And the carnival setting was definitely interesting with the ideas, though I do have to admit that out of all the particular places, why the heck did she take the girlfriend to a bouncy house?
Okay, that was... Look, I may not be always the biggest fan of Logan, but I actually was like, okay, I can't hate on you for that. That's kind of all right.
It just sort of left like, out of all the places, it could have been possibly better, aside from all the children bouncing around in bounce houses with things like that. But, my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Alrighty. So next episode we will be discussing is called Versatile Toppings. Okay. In this episode, Veronica is going to investigate a series of blackmails and muggings primarily targeted against Neptune's LGBT community. Meanwhile, Logan and Hannah's relationship develops, and Keith and Terrence take on the latter's case. Oh boy. Some stuff's gonna happen in this one, and yeah. So, if there's nothing else, until next time, I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.